Hello, my name is Nelson Delgado. I'm an energy psychologist in Mississauga, Ontario, and in this installment, we're going to be talking about the entire Taurus season. Forgive the noise in the background as there's a little bit of construction going on. I'm not sure if it's being picked up on the mic, but I appreciate your patience with the background noise. Let's continue. The reason why I haven't done a video in a while is because I've been doing a lot of gardening work, and it's taken a lot of my time and helped my mom regarding alleviating herself of the excess accumulation of stuff that she's collected over the years that still remains in her condo. But let's get back to what we're here today to talk about, which is Taurus season. So in Taurus season, the theme here is simplicity over accumulation. And here's the quote: "What is essential speaks for itself." Right now, the world feels full of information, full of urgency, full of voices telling you what matters. We're watching global instability, conflicts, economic pressure, rising cost of living, widening wealth gaps, systems being questioned, trust being shaken. And beneath all of that, there's a quieter pattern. A deeper tension, not just out there, but within us. The pressure to accumulate more security, more certainty, more of a more solid identity to cling to, a more solid identity to anchor into, more proof that we are enough. But Taurus season is not asking you to gather more. It's asking you something far more confronting. What can you release so what is real can finally speak? We are seeing two extremes emerge globally. On one side, hoarding, control, resource consolidation. On the other, burnout, depletion, survival fatigue. And in between, people trying to hold it all together, while quietly abandoning themselves. This is where our work begins. We are walking through 5 core dilemmas this season. Each one reveals where self-denial has replaced self-trust. The first challenge is in Gene Key 27 to Gene Key 28, or Gate 27 and 28. And in this area, it's about care versus meaning. The world is overwhelmed with suffering, and many of us feel it now. But here's the shadow. Caring becomes performance. Giving becomes proof. And purpose becomes something we try to earn. The statement to this shadow pattern is, I must sacrifice to matter. Here is the self-study questions. Where am I overgiving to feel worthy? What happens when I stop trying to prove I care? Can I allow life to be meaningful without struggle? And here's the provocation. Is your compassion authentic, or is it tied to your identity? Here's a way to shift to the ascended graces associated with this challenge. Care becomes presence, not performance. Purpose becomes a state of being. Here's a visualization you can consider integrating. Imagine a world where people give not from exhaustion, but from fullness, where no one needs to prove how good a person they really are. Here is one small action that you can integrate in your weekly or monthly ritual. Do one nurturing thing for yourself without explaining why you're doing it. Here's the second challenge. Gene Key or Gate 24 along with Gene Key or Gate 44. And in this challenge, it's dealing with mental loops versus inherited patterns. I have this experience recently with my mom, and where She has this need to have things the way she sees it. There's a strong desire and a deep desire to have others do as she needs them to do it, when she needs them to do it. And the challenge is that there is this issue regarding the process, because it's important not to try and do things over and over again to achieve minimal progress. So I did things the way I thought they should be, and and she knew why, and my wife helped me with that. And the next person that came over the following day to help assemble something would have everything prepared for them so they can easily assemble it. But she had this vision of how she wanted things to be, and so things had to be rearranged in the room again to have it the way she wanted it. In the end, she got what she wanted, but not in the way she thought it would be. So sometimes you got to have patience regarding the process, and the inherited patterns in the discussions and the arguments that go along with it. So it's important to acknowledge that, the kind of mental loops that they probably have going on and their fears associated with them, as well as the inherited patterns that we might be exuding that are similar to what they're exuding, and knowing how to break the pattern. So getting back to the second challenge, mental loops versus inherited patterns. Whether you see this in your own siblings, whether you see this in your family, your extended family, so on and so forth, where the extension of what's going on internally in your close dynamics are happening also in the world today, where the world keeps repeating itself. There's conflict cycles, cultural patterns that no longer serve us and should end, or should no longer be integrated. Rehashing the same stories, but with new faces. And in this shadow pattern, the statement is, I can think my way out of it, but I keep looping. And here's the self-study questions associated with that. What thought pattern do I repeat when I avoid feeling? What belief did I inherit that no longer fits my life? Here's the provocation. Are your thoughts actually yours? Or are they a transference from siblings or parents? Here is the shift towards states of grace. Stillness interrupts repetition. Awareness dissolves inherited patterns. And here's visualization. Imagine a world where people pause before reacting, where history informs but does not control the outcome. And here's a small action you could take. Catch one repetitive thought today and don't follow it. The third challenge to this is in gene key 2 and 1, or gate 2 and 1. And it's direction versus identity. The world is obsessed with labels, who you are, who you represent, but something deeper is being lost. And the shadow pattern statement is, I must define myself to belong. Here's a self-study question for this. Where am I forcing direction instead of trusting it? What identity feels heavy, but I keep carrying? Here's a provocation. What if you are not lost, just disconnected from your own signal? This is what will help you shift to the ascended state of this challenge. Direction arises naturally. Creativity returns when pressure dissolves. Here is the visualization challenge. A world where people move from inner knowing, their intuition, what they know in their bones, their heart, and their gut, without need of external validation. Here's a small action you could take. Let yourself not know for one moment today. The next challenge is in gene key or gate 23, or gene key in gate 43. And this dynamic is insight versus expression. We seem to be drowning in information, but starving for truth. The shadow pattern statement would then be, I must explain myself to be understood. And here's the self-study questions. What truth am I overcomplicating? Where do I silence myself to stay accepted? The provocation statements in your question is, are you speaking truth or performing intelligence? And here's a shift to the ascended state of these challenges. Simplicity becomes power. Insight becomes transmission. And here's a visualization you can integrate. A world where words are fewer but truer. And here's a small action you can take. Say one honest sentence today without editing it. And here's the final challenge of the Taurus season. The fifth challenge. Gene key 8 to 14 or gate 8 to 14. Expression versus power. We live in a system that rewards output but not authenticity. The shadow pattern's statement would then be, I must compromise to survive. Here's a self-study question. Where am I choosing safety over truth? What part of me feels underused or unseen? Here's a provocation statement and our question. Is your life aligned or just functional? Power flows through authenticity. Expression attracts the right resources. A visualization you can integrate is a world where people contribute from truth, not obligation. And here's one small action that you can do during this challenge. Do one thing today that feels unmistakably like you. The core truth of this Taurus season is the following. Accumulation has become a substitute for trust. We accumulate money, validation, knowledge, roles, even healing practices, but still feel empty because accumulation without alignment is just noise. Emotional contemplation, visualization. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine standing in a space completely empty. No titles, no expectations, no past identity, just you. Now feel this. What remains? Not what you do, not what you've built, but what is alive in you right now. That is your essence. That is what this season is asking you to trust. If you may, you can integrate this prayer. Beloved Creator, guide me back to what is real. Help me release what is not mine to carry. Show me that I am already enough. Let my life be rooted in truth, my actions in clarity, and my expression in love. Teach me to trust what lives within me. So what is one thing you are ready to release so your true self can come forward? Write it down below in the comment section if you like. Let it be seen. And thank you for being here with me, for choosing awareness, for choosing truth, for choosing yourself in a world that constantly asks you to abandon it. If this resonated with you, Like, subscribe, and share this with someone who is ready to step into their next level of authenticity. This season is not about becoming more, it's about becoming real.